Divine and royal greetings, family. Shayola Benta here, along with Coach Latoya and Coach Shantae for another broadcast of Build Through Broadcast. Today, we're discussing the difference between vegan and plant-based. Really, what's the difference? Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. If you're seeing this live, we say thank you. If you're seeing this as a replay, we say thank you. And just drop in the chats replay. And if you have any questions, comments, or even a concern, feel free to drop it in the chat. We will love to engage in conversation with you. So this week, we are talking about the difference between plant-based and vegan. So Coach Shantae is womanning the technical side. We are a bit late because, y'all, it's just not my strong suit. I'm trying. I'm striving. But listen, so we're going to pull up a little article that gives us a little bit of background on what veganism is. And there really is a difference. So we hope that you find value in this broadcast. All right.
Absolutely. I see that we are on the screen here. And as Coach Shayola said, this is an article that is from the Vegan Society, and it talks about the origins of the term vegan. So I'm not sure how big it is on your screen, so I will read a bit of this so that we can all get to an understanding. So the first modern day vegans in November 1944, Donald Watson called a meeting with 5 other non-dairy vegetarians, including Elsie Shrigley, to discuss non-dairy vegetarian diets and lifestyles. Though many held similar views at the time, these 6 pioneers were the first to actively found a new movement. Excuse me, y'all. My child has a guinea pig on a little remote control car, and he is just tickled with himself. Don't do Cooper like that. He does not like that, Makari. I'm on my broadcast. Just tickled. Lord have mercy. Anyhow. Though many held, including Elsie Shrigley, to discuss non-dairy vegetarian diets and lifestyles. Though many held similar views at the time, these 6 pioneers were the first to actively found a new movement. Despite opposition, the group felt a new word was required to describe them, something more concise than non-dairy vegetarians. They rejected words including dairy ban, vitan, and benivore. They settled on vegan, a word that Donald Watson later described as containing the first 3 and last 2 letters of vegetarian. In the words of Donald Watson, it marked the beginning and end of vegetarian. The word vegan was coined by Donald Watson from a suggestion by early members, Mr. George A. Henderson and his wife, Faye K. Henderson, that the society should be called All Vega and the magazine All Vegan. Although the vegan diet was defined early on, it was as late as 1949 before Leslie J. Cross pointed out that the society lacked a definition of veganism, and she suggested the principle of the emancipation of animals from exploitation by man. This is later clarified as to seek an end to the use of animals by man for food, commodities, work, hunting, vivisection, and by all other uses involving exploitation of animal life by man. The society was first registered as a charity in August 1964, but its assets were later transferred to a new charity when it also became a limited company in December 1979. The definition of veganism and the charitable objects of the society were amended and refined over the years. By winter 1988, this definition was in use, although the phrasing has changed slightly over the years and remains today.
Nice. Thank you so very much for reading that out for us. So we'll leave it up on the screen for a little while if you wanted to go over the words, and we'll show a shorter version of that, of just the definition of what that is. So, like most concepts, well, all really ideas, words, and all the things, it's made from people. Now, in my opinion, it has become uh, popularized,
Mhm.
same as plant-based, and we'll show you a little tidbit of that as well. But let's stop here for a moment. What say you all on the idea of having a more extreme concept of veganism? Excuse me, vegetarianism.
Well, I would say that for me, I didn't even know that vegan existed. And excuse my door in the background. I didn't know a vegan existed until my daughter's father told me about it because he was already vegan.
Mm,
So for me, I just knew vegetarian. I did not knew there was this whole element of like not eating any animal product or anything at all. And so that's how I went into it. I went into it just knowing that there was vegetarian and then there's vegan. But then as I evolved on my personal journey and been able to experience also eating raw or whatnot, I began to see how, although I did start off on a vegan journey, that as I began to become more familiar with my own food choices, that I began to be more connected to the plants or whatnot, and been able to see how it's not just about the animals for me, although the animals aspect of it did draw me in, of like not of thinking about how the chicken get on your plate type, so that did draw me in. But for me, it's more so about not only the animals but also about human life. It's also about your health and
Mhm.
the environment,
mhm.
and so much more. So for me, it's bigger than just this animal thing, and we also have to be mindful of like categorizing things, because then it becomes then you have people creating things that's not really food at all, but it's so called vegan. So for me, it's it's plant based, but I'm even finding that some people see plant based as not not eating any. You may still eat animal product even if you're plant
Mhm.
based. So it's so many things. So I just say state what is best for you, but at the same time, um, this term vegan is not something as I begin to evolve, is not a term that I fully resonate with, but it's a term that I've embraced because it's what people seem to know. They
That's
know
a
that
great point.
easier, right?
That's a great point. And a great segue. Coach Shantae, before you share, can you pull up the slide of plant-based, um, a plant-based lifestyle? And you're right in that we should embrace what speaks to us. So again, we understand that veganism was something or a term that was coined back in 1944 and really became, I guess, more widely used in 1988 to distinguish a difference, if you will, between vegetarianism, which vegetarianism is plant based. However, they still consume dairy. And even to limit veganism to just your diet really is not, a thing, because your diet is just part of it. Hold on one second. I know I'm kind of like, let me blow this up. Your diet is just part of it, right? It's the shoes, it's the clothes, it's the bags, it's a whole encompassing thing. So
Mhm.
to say that you are vegan has to also indicate or um, correlate with the fact that you do not engage in any type of activity that is the result of animal. So, plant based lifestyle. One, plant based typically refers to one who eats a diet based primarily on plant foods with limited to no animal derived products. 2, a whole foods plant based diet, strong fit, strong living, means the oils and processed packaged foods are likewise excluded. And then 3, I thought this was cute because, again, I don't necessarily identify with vegan because I love honey. And I know that, honey is not on the list of things to be had when you are classified as vegan. So I just wanted to kind of travel into this segment to understand that, as Coach Latoya was saying, with a plant-based lifestyle, because I don't even really like the word diet. And it's so crazy because we have all these words and we don't necessarily realize that words cast spells, and I don't want to die from anything that I'm consuming. I guess that really defeats the purpose. But plant-based meaning consuming a predominantly plant life food source, but you still, again, may consume dairy, you may consume flesh, or whatever the case may be. So, Coach Shantae, what say you as it relates to the differences between vegan and plant-based?
Yeah, that's one of those things for me that's kind of like, okay, the more I research a thing, the more I'm just kind of like, I need to define for myself who I am. This is, I don't like using finite terminology or definitive terminology, like always, never, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The term vegan for me is finite. It is something that has been widely accepted as a lifestyle choice. It is understood when you say I'm vegan. Oh, okay, well, you don't eat meat, you don't eat eggs and cheese and so on and so forth. It does make it easier to navigate when you are grocery shopping or going out to eat. You can look for the things that are labeled vegan. And that is if you're shopping for the processed stuff, that those replacement things. Right. So it makes it easier in that regard. But when I think about the plant-based whole foods lifestyle, you don't necessarily need to read the label as much when you're plant-based whole foods because your food has roots. Like you could pluck it up out of the ground and take it in the house and do what you need to do with it because it comes straight from the earth. They had a good, I guess, foundation for their reason for why they wanted to create a term and why they wanted it to be a specific term for who they are and what they stand for. And I get that. But like Coach Latoya mentioned, now it's pretty much been hijacked. You can have all kinds of vegan foods and, you can go to the store and get whatever vegan processed anything that you desire to eat. But the downside of that is it doesn't necessarily contain plants. It doesn't necessarily contain nutrients and the vitamins and minerals that we need to sustain ourselves. There are so many unhealthy vegans, like they don't eat meat, but they still eat the pseudo cheese and the pseudo meats and the so on and so forth for every meal every day. And when you transition from standard American diet to being modern day vegan, you're not necessarily soaking your beans overnight so that you can make burgers or, planning out this is what grain I'm going to eat with this so that you can be, have the full nutrients and things that you need. And for me, that really takes away from the benefits of a plant-based diet. One of the things that I've researched as well in like just the course of learning more about nutrition, I registered for a health coaching class. So there's a nutrition class and then there's a health coaching class. So let's focus on the nutrition class. In the nutrition class, there's a course called How to Coach a Plant-Based Diet. And when they discuss plant-based, they talk about, like Coach Shayola said, they have a category of plant-based people that eat only plants. There's a category of them that eat mostly plants, but they do still eat some animal proteins, and how to coach both of these people so that they get the nutrients that they need. I'm going to fall on the side of fully plant-based whole foods because I found that for my health, well-being, and energy, that works better for me. My son, it works really well for him too. We haven't had nearly the type of digestive issues and things that we had before since we've transitioned to the fully whole foods plant-based diet. And I noticed when we do eat a lot of processed foods, we both are subject to maybe having some discomfort, maybe having some constipation and things of that nature because of the processed vegan foods that we add into our diet. So for me, as far as categories are concerned, I'm not a person that likes categories, in and of itself. But if you're transitioning or you're trying to do things a certain way and you need that bridge to get you from the standard American diet to a plant-based whole foods diet, definitely having that label of vegan in the grocery store helps to choose better options for yourself and your family. And that's, if you're willing to read the label and all of that.
Be willing.
I got a comment over here on Instagram. I just wish people knew what vegan meant. Like the restaurants that have vegan listed on their menus, but really it's not. For instance, the Taco Bell vegan menu, when you ask them what's on it, the first ingredients they list are cheese and sour cream.
That's real. I went to a banquet and I said, "Do you have any non-dairy dressing?" She says, "Yeah, we have ranch." It was just like, okay, well, thank you. Anyway, I appreciate that. So that's real. Thank you so much for that comment. But I love what you just said. We really want to be willing to read the labels, right? Because we know that the front of the label is for our entertainment. That's to draw us in. And the back of the label, the back of the package really is for education. And the way that the ingredients list, whatever is first is what that food or that meal has the most of, right? So if it starts off straight off the top with, high fructose, or even what is it, the pea isolate, which is not peas, we have to make sure that we are in the know. Now, the other part of this plant-based phenomenon is foods that are made in a plant, which makes them plant-based. So those are the ones that you're probably going to see plant-based on, or you're going to see the vegan on more times than not. So we want to be careful of those too, because if something is made in a plant, if it's made in a factory, then we know that is chemical, right? And the body doesn't recognize those types of food-like substances. Therefore, it doesn't break down, nourish, and pass through the way that whole foods does. So we do want to, everyone is at a different point in their journey, right? So you might have these transitional meals or food-like substances, but you definitely want to do it in moderation, because again, it's really not providing you any nourishment. It's just providing the simulation that you're full. And because you're not being insatiated, that fullness will leave you very quickly, and you'll be hungry again because the body didn't get what it needed to be nourished. So even in plant-based, we want to be careful. We want to be mindful of what that actually means. But please, y'all, do read the labels, because if it's words that you cannot pronounce, or if it looks like a chemistry test, then it's probably not something that you want to put into your body. I see a lot of like ramen noodle recipes popping up on line. And I was in the store the other day and they had this big rack. And I just, let me look. What's back here now? Y'all, that ingredient list, first of all, was like this long and it had all of these. So just be careful. I mean, I don't know all of the brands that's out there, and maybe some are more healthy than others, but we want to be smart about it. If you can't pronounce it, I would probably say look it up, wait on it before you put it in. And if you can't, this is off the topic just a little bit. If you cannot insert it in you, then personally speaking, I wouldn't digest it.
That is the rule that I follow when it comes to my skincare products. I also make handcrafted soaps, body butters, lip balms, so on and so forth. One of the rules that I have for my products is if I would not eat it, I'm not putting it into my product. If it is not clean, I'm not putting it into my products, because what goes onto your skin goes into your bloodstream and into your body. What you put into your body affects your bloodstream. And we read yesterday in our book, we're reading African Holistic Health by Dr. Laila Africa. And it talks about how the blood is impacted by the things that we eat, and how high blood pressure and low blood pressure and stress are impacted by the things that we eat. Y'all, it is amazing how the Creator put our body machines together. It truly is amazing how we are put together. But we are not as pristine as we could be because of environmental toxins, of our food toxins, our entertainment toxins. All of these things play a role in how our bodies function, which is why it is so important to detox. And when you're talking about detox, it's not just, oh, let me go get these products and let me see how, this, that, and the third works. When you detox, there should be a mental, spiritual, physical release and reset that happens within you. Because if there is not, then there's still some stagnancy there and you need to go through and do it again. That's one of the reasons that I absolutely love the way that Queen of Food teaches detox, because she teaches a detox lifestyle. It's not just I detox once and I'm good. It is a continuous detoxing assignment and agreement that you make with your body, because we are constantly taking in toxins. So we have to constantly assist our bodies in the reset. We do have organs that help with elimination and detoxification of the body, but when those organs are backed up, when those organs are not properly cleaned and flushed out, that creates other issues. So I say all of that to say, come on and join us next month for the detox, because whatever side of things you fall on, plant-based, vegan, standard American diet, your body needs to be cleansed and reset because of the times that we live in. We're not living in pristine times with pristine waters, y'all. So we have to make the effort to help our bodies recalibrate as often as we need to, so that we're functioning at optimal capacity.
I mean, that's really real. I mean, come on in. The detox definitely is something that we have really worked and continue to work hard on, because we know obviously everyone is at different phases and spaces in their lives. And it's a fun time just to give your body a break, give the organs a break. I mean, if we're constantly just taking in, and we think that a supplement is going to just undo all of the taken in, then we really are sadly mistaken. And I think it was Mother Priya that said today, those who have control over your diet has control, or your food have control over you. So Coach Latoya, do you have anything to add?
Yes, there's definitely a lot that I was taking in and hearing from you all that I wholeheartedly agree with. And I find it interesting how there's people are stickler for honey. When you go to like I forgot the name of the group, but They go to their website and they have the list of what is approved as far as vegan food, and they have stuff like Oreos and stuff like that on their list. And so it's not there, it's animal focused, you know, so it's not really about, it's not health focused, it's animal focused. And that's what gets me. So people will, and they're big on buying anything that says vegan on it. They're fine with it. That's what it seemed like to me. Unless it has a reaction to the body, then it's like, no, okay, or if they don't like it. But I'm like, that's not how I came into it. You know, everybody has their way, but I just find it interesting, like, even though to me, I'd rather somebody eat honey than somebody to eat some Oreos.
Right.
That's that right there alone. And it's so many layers. It's even the, you know, just to take it there, just when it comes to, you know, how certain people, like Caucasians and their spaces of veganism, and how it's different from others, you know, that thing, that's a thing, and how there's issues with that people don't want to talk about. But I think it became more of a talk within the last couple of years, but it's that going on. And I remember I did a video on like what raw vegan is, and somebody came onto my video giving me a whole thing about it's for the animals and all this long paragraph and like trying to educate me. And I'm like, I was like, you know, vegan is what it is for you. And that's like, and honestly, it's way deeper than animals for me, particularly. It's ancestrally, when we go there, our ancestors were eating plant-based. So it's really deep. It's a culture thing. It's a, you know, getting back to the land, connecting back to the land. It's so many layers to it, and it's going to be different from other people. But that one size fit rules, to me, that goes to show you how it's more so sometimes this culture or whatever is more so Western way of viewing things versus, you know, the African centered way of, you know, and in both, you know. So that's a big piece that I took away, especially when you brought up the honey piece. I'm like, that is just so interesting how people are sticklers for honey, all this other stuff. But that's what stood out to me. Absolutely.
Word. So, you know, when I first heard, oh, Oreos are vegan, I had to read the back of the label. Like, let me see what this about. But y'all, I think it's the second, maybe even the third ingredient is high fructose syrup. So again, it's still, even though, like you, I love that you said it's not veganism in this modern time is not necessarily health focused, it's animal focused. That's a jewel, because we look at things that don't necessarily have animal products, but those other things may not be great for you as well. And when you brought up an African centered diet, it also brought me to the mindset of indigenous people, right? Because with that connection to the land as well as indigenous people, usually if meat, flesh is consumed, an animal is consumed, that animal is given reverence. And I heard that in some cultures, the animal that is to be sacrificed steps forward, almost giving itself to, you know, play its part and its role in this village or in this tribe, and not just, we're just going to, you know, for lack of better word, slaughter, you know, a whole bunch, or mass consume all of these animals just for our unhealthy delight. So, you know, shout out to those who really give reverence and really take care of their animals, you know. And it's like, oh, you know, super side note, again, this is going a little bit left. I was thinking about women who give birth and then they may consume the placenta. You know what I'm saying? So it is this idea that we still kind of eat ourselves. I know it's weird, but there is like there's a divine order of things. And some people may discard the placenta like, oh, that's just garbage, or you don't need that. You absolutely should consume, take in, revere your placenta. It's a part of you, and it gives you, baby, nutrients that are needed to help ward off and help to build immunity. Again, I know that went way left, but I wanted to bring in just the facts that we do take in, fleshy type substances, even in our soil. The soil that we use has some element of animal in it, whether it's fish bone or, whatever. So we do consume it, maybe not as gluttonous as others, but
Yes.
yeah.
Like when you mentioned what is it, the animals being revered, that I remember watching a cooking show or something, a documentary of like people going on, chefs going around the world making food, or going around the world and seeing how people, make their food. And I know they went to like different like a farm, and you saw how the people really loved on those animals or whatever, and prayed on them and everything. And that made me, I was like, okay, if you eat your meat like this, and how they don't waste anything either, that's a big thing. So like if you do it in that way, if you know where your stuff is coming from, then that's a different thing. That's completely different. But if it's just the way that it's normally done, that is a no-no. And another thing about reading the labels, like I remember, because I went to school for biology, so like we had to take, one of the requirements is organic chemistry. So like if the labels look like an organic chemistry, like the look like the words from organic chemistry and things like that, then you know that you don't need to be eating that. And you find that in a lot of products, especially those products that are supposedly vegan. So it's something to keep in mind.
Give thanks. Well, we've reached the top, and a little bit more than our 30 minutes. Coach Shantae, anything to close us out?
No, just www.theemeraldgreencollective.com. Click on Spring Detox and go ahead and get in there. Price is currently $49.99. Will go up on March 1st. So if you are on the fence, if you're not sure, if you have questions, send us a message, drop a comment, let us know how we can assist you so that you can make your decision on how to move forward. We're here to support through the detox. If you need continued support after that, of course, you can let us know and we can put something together for you. Detox is going to come with the 21-day detox, our Emerald Veg Camp guide, written by our very own coach, Shell Lamenta. You'll also get a 10-minute energy reading, tune up with the pendulum, and you will get a 30-minute coaching call. So this is a comprehensive detox. You will not need any products aside from what you purchase for your groceries during the 21 days. Our orientation session is March 12th, and we will kick off on March 19th. So come on in the room, join us, make those changes, get the support that you need to make those changes sustainable, and, work with some people who are actively living this lifestyle on a day-to-day basis.
Well, until next week, we say peace, love, and wholeness.